Hey there, and welcome. Every single time you reach for something, bend down to tie your shoe, or even just turn your head, your body is doing something pretty incredible. We call this range of motion, and today we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden mechanics that make it all happen. I mean, it seems so simple, right? Your arm just goes up, but underneath the skin, there's this incredibly precise dance going on. Joint surfaces are rolling, sliding, and spinning in perfect harmony. And that is the secret story we are going to decode together today. So, here's our game plan. First up, we'll dive into the secret life of our joints. Then, we'll get into the big difference between active and passive motion. After that, we'll see how you actually measure all this stuff. And we'll wrap up by looking at what might be holding you back from full motion.
All right, let's start small. And I mean really small. Because before you can even think about lifting your arm, your joint surfaces are already performing these three fundamental movements. This tiny, invisible world has a name. It's called arthrokinematics.
So here's the big idea. Every large, obvious movement that you make is really just a combination of these three tiny, unseen ones happening deep inside your joints. So let's break down what roll, slide, and spin actually are. First up is roll. And honestly, it's exactly what it sounds like. Just picture a tire rolling smoothly down a road. That's what's happening in your knee when you stand up. The rounded end of one bone is literally rolling across the surface of another.
Next, we've got slide. So stick with that tire analogy. Now imagine it hits a patch of black ice. Wham! It stops rolling and starts skidding, right? That's a slide. A single point on one bone just glides across the surface of the other. You might also hear this called a glide. It's the same thing.
And the last piece of the puzzle is spin. Think of a toy top, spinning perfectly in one spot. A single point just rotates without going anywhere. A perfect example in your own body? Try this. Turn your palm up to the ceiling and then down to the floor. The bone in your forearm, the radius, is literally spinning in place at your elbow. So cool.
So why do we even care about these little movements? Well, because they have to work together perfectly to keep our joints from, popping out of place. It all comes down to the shape of the bones. Take a look at the convex on concave rule, like a ball sitting in a bowl. That's your shoulder. As the ball of your arm bone rolls up, it has to simultaneously slide down to stay centered. If it didn't, it would roll right off the edge. But now look at the knee. It's the opposite. The concave shin bone moves on the convex thigh bone. Here, the roll and slide happen in the exact same direction. Getting this simple rule it's the key to understanding how we move.
Okay, so that was the microscopic world. Let's zoom back out to the movements we can actually see and feel. And that brings us to a really important question. Are you doing the work, or is something else moving you? First, let's talk about active range of motion, or AROM for short. The key word here, obviously, is active. This is how far you can move a part of your body using nothing but your own muscles. It's you under your own steam. Every time you consciously decide to move, you're using your AROM.
And on the flip side, you have passive range of motion, or PROM. Now your muscles are completely chilled out, totally relaxed, and outside force is doing all the work. That could be a physical therapist, a machine, or even just good old gravity. This tells us how far the joint could move if muscle strength wasn't even part of the equation.
This chart really lays it all out. When you move yourself, you're testing your strength and coordination. But when something else moves you, you're testing the joint itself, the ligaments, the capsule, all the connective tissues. And that's why your passive range is almost always a little bit more than your active range. When your muscles are relaxed, those joint tissues have a little extra give, a bit more stretch that an external force can tap into. And think about what that means for a professional. Just by asking you to lift your arm, they can see an entire story play out. It's not just about your strength, it's about your coordination, your willingness to even try the movement, and, crucially, it pinpoints the exact moment something starts to hurt. It is an incredibly powerful diagnostic tool. So, we can see movement, we can feel it, we can describe it, but in a clinical setting, that's not quite enough. We need to be able to measure it. So how do we turn something like lifting an arm into cold, hard, objective data?
Do use this thing. It's called a goniometer, and it's the gold standard for measuring movement. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is just as a protractor that's been specially designed for the human body. It lets us record movement in precise degrees.
Now, to get a reading you can actually trust, there's a very specific process. First, you get the person into a stable, standard position. Then you line up the stationary arm of the goniometer with the part of the body that's not moving. The other arm follows the part that is moving, and at the very end of the motion, you just read the number.
Simple, but when you do it right, it's incredibly effective.
But, and this is a big but, this is not a toy. There are absolutely critical times when you should not measure range of motion, things like a suspected fracture or right after a surgery. Doing it then could cause serious harm, and you always have to be extremely careful when there's pain, inflammation, or fragile bones involved, because patient safety is always priority number one. We all have limits, right? There's only so far our joints can go. But what actually sets those boundaries? In our final section, we're going to look at all the different things, both inside our bodies and out, that determine our personal range of motion.
All these limiting factors basically fall into two big camps. On one side, you've got intrinsic factors, stuff that's part of you. You know, the specific shape of your bones, how stretchy your ligaments are, or even swelling. Then on the other side, you've got extrinsic factors, outside influences, like your age, a past injury, or what happens when you're stuck in a cast for 6 weeks.
In that last one, being stuck in a cast, brings us to what might be the single most important idea in all of this. This quote really says it all. The well-being of joint tissues depends on a certain amount of use and stress. It is the classic use it or lose it principle. Our joints are designed to move. They need it to stay healthy. Bottom line, movement is medicine. So, when you put it all together, you realize that range of motion isn't just about being flexible. It's a vital sign, just like your heart rate or your blood pressure. It's a story that starts with that invisible microscopic dance inside the joint and ends with a number on a goniometer that can tell us so much about your body's overall health. You see, every time you move, your body is giving you a little status update. It's telling you a story about its health. The only question is, are you listening? What is your body trying to tell you today? Thanks so much for diving into this with me.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing lectures. I'll see you soon in the next video. Till then, stay curious, keep learning, and Allah Hafiz.